Okay, so this is Psych 3280, Neural Base of Consciousness, week 7. And this week I'll talk about higher visual areas and the NCC. To start with a recap of week 6, we talked about the definition of the NCC, neural correlates of consciousness. It is defined as the minimal sets of neurons that is sufficient to give rise to a particular conscious person. And I also introduced an empirical NCC search strategy, which is to fix either sensory input or conscious percept or behavior output, and then record or examine the relationship of the others. And then as a result of this type of strategy, V1 was deemed as unlikely candidate for the NCC. And one of the reasons was that the non-conscious orientation-dependent adaptation after effect is unlikely to be mediated by V1. So V1 is not sufficient for consciousness, so argued. And on the other hand, MT, medial temporal area, is likely to be the neural correlates of the motion chorea, visual motion. And one of the reasons was that the motion after effects are mediated by MT neurons and also likely to be requiring visibility of the motion to generate this motion after effects. And also lesions and also neural recordings and microstimulations in neurons in MT strongly imply its sufficiency for motion qualia. Following that, in this week, you're going to learn the following. So what are the evidence supporting the claim that the higher visual areas are the neural correlates of consciousness, NCC? And we are going to look at first the evidence for B4, B8, IT, FFA, and then medial temporal lobe. And these are summarized or referred to in Quest for Consciousness in chapter 7 and 8. Also, we are going to look at what are the phenomenological and the behavioral characteristics of binocular rivalry. And then how did the researchers establish the binocular rivalry paradigms in monkeys as participants? And then in these trained monkeys, what are the neural activities during the binocular rivalry? That's the question. And then eventually we are going to ask the critical question of what are the implications of the findings from these NCC studies. And the Quest for Consciousness chapter 16 is recommended for this part of the lecture.